this is Dr. Sara Siddiqui, and I'm here with the Elwood Public Library to share with you a topic of discussion. Okay, great. Okay, so this month, I would like to thank the Elwood Public Library for allowing me to present on different topics. And this month, we're going to be talking about talking with teens, tips for parents on communicating with adolescents. And this was a fun topic for me because adolescents happen to be one of my favorite age groups to work with, but I do like working with all the age groups. So yes, I'm a pediatrician at the NYU Langone Huntington Medical Group, and let's get started. So no disclosures to identify. Please speak to your child's physician about any specific issues, and this discussion is for informational purposes only. Just some tips and guidance that suggestions from practice and the American Academy of Pediatrics. So I wanted to just give a little bit of background about the stages of growth. The adolescent period of growth is a rapid growth and development, and it's earlier stages, like prior to adolescent. I always compare the adolescent growth period to almost the toddler growth period. That's how fast their minds are growing, and they're kind of going through this rapid change in their bodies and their minds. And their moods can be very unpredictable, sometimes difficult, sometimes very, very loving, sometimes very, very labile, and it's confusing sometimes as a parent, and sometimes it's difficult to navigate. One of the parts of the brain, and I know I've discussed this before with the adolescent brain development, but the prefrontal cortex is not fully mature, which is the front part of their brain, and that's the part of their brain that kind of lets them know that maybe there's danger ahead, or maybe we shouldn't be doing that kind of behavior, or maybe we shouldn't have, those kind of things that are going on that could lead to some dangerous consequences, but that part of the brain is not fully developed as of yet. And sometimes it doesn't develop well into the 20s. So that could be a big cause of why sometimes it's difficult to navigate that part of period of growth. And their body, however, is almost at the cusp of adulthood. So their bodies are changed to the point where they're kind of at the brink of development or at the completion of development, but their minds are still changing. So early adolescence is a period of time, beginning of the body changing, ages 10 to 13. There's lots of questions, lots of uncertainty. They start to feel an increased need for a little bit of privacy, and everything usually at this age group can be stark contrast. So good or bad, black or white. They really feel that they're being judged by their peers at all times, and this can really influence them as to what their likes and dislikes are. So kind of gone are the stages where they rely on their parents for what their feedback or what their positivity and negativity comes from. It really sometimes relies on what their peers are saying. And it's really important as parents to keep conversations going, keep conversations positive, and really be present. And the communication starts early and often. So we really want to start prior to this age, but at this age between 10 and 13 is really when things are going to start to change. Your child becomes a little bit different. And you can see that in their development, their likes, their differences, their tastes may be changing. And it's important as a parent to recognize this. Middle adolescence, age 14 to 17, their body continues to change. For females, they may have be part of their development where their body has changed. There may be some completed their growth spurt or in the middle of their growth spurt. Boys may be beginning their growth spurt, their voices may be changing, and girls may be finishing development, and sometimes even have already had their periods. And there's a lot of curiosity about relationships, deeper friendships, sometimes romantic interests can begin now. There's a lot of hormonal changes going on. Again, a lot of brain changes, a lot of things that are developing in terms of their own personality. Their peers may be changing. So this is the middle to late middle school and early high school changes. And arguments often arise about independence from parents. So they're trying to get a little separated from their parents. Maybe their parents aren't as influential as they used to be. And the concerns about their appearance and peer influence is very, very high at this stage. And they want to spend less time with family and more time with friends. Late adolescence is 18 to 21 plus, and they are at the stage of early adulthood. They're fully grown. They understand healthy and unhealthy behaviors. They're starting to develop more responsibility and maturity in their relationships. They have a stronger sense of individuality and values, and they can be more emotionally and physically separated from family, but they still are learning how to relate to the parents as adults. And as adults and parents, it's a good time to start or continue to learn to let go and let them make some decisions and let them kind of celebrate their adulthood. So it's really important that we start communicating early and often with our adolescents and our teens. And I know the title of the talk initially was Talk So Your Teens Would Listen, but really it's about listening so your teens will talk. As we'll get to in the next slide. So you want to really make time to talk and listen to your teen. I can't stress that enough. It's really about listening to what they are saying, listening to how they were saying it, and talk often and early and make the time. If they do want to speak to you or they want to talk to you about something, really drop everything and listen to them and make that time, because those times start coming less and less, or that they only will talk when they're ready. So it's not when you have time, it's when they have time. And when they want to talk, be sure to pay attention, try not to be judgmental, and try not to lecture. Now's not the time to give exactly what you would be doing in a similar situation. Ask them what they should do next, what they think they should do next, or what they would have done, or what they learned from what they're telling you, and keep the conversation open. It's really important to show affection. So even from early adolescence to mid to late adolescence, starting with early adolescence, they might not want to show affection back to you, especially if they're in front of their peers. So that early 10 to 13 range, or even 14 to 17, they may not want to show affection or hug you in public. But it's really important that you show them that you're still there for them, that you care for them, that you respect them, and that you are understanding of their wants and needs. And perhaps not so much public, but privately, you should show them that you still are there and care and hug them. You want to respect their privacy. I'm just gonna make sure. This is the slide, yes. So we want to make sure that we are a good listener. So talk less, listen more. This is really important. I think if anything you get out of this whole entire talk, if you can just listen more, talk less, it would make a big difference in helping to communicate better with your adolescent. And then talk about what interests them. They're going to be changes. Some of the things that might have interested them before when they were younger might not interest them as much. So you want to make sure that you are talking to them about what's interesting to them. So again, open-ended questions and talking frequently and often. Respect their privacy. So this is really important. Make sure they have their own space. And of course, if you are talking about something sensitive, you want to make sure that you're talking to them in a private space. And if they're not ready to speak about anything, not to push them, and ask to enter their rooms or enter their space before you go and into that space. And reinforce that you are there for them, be on their side, try to have non-judgmental conversations, and really open-ended questions. And communication is really key. So all young people want to be loved, acknowledged, and respected. Show them that you are there for them. Respect is a two-way street, so you want to respect them, and then they in turn will learn to respect you. And then you want to discuss risky behaviors and consequences. Again, their brains are not fully developed. They're still learning about different consequences and results of their actions, be it trying different things like alcohol and marijuana and behaviors like that. So you want to be clear in setting limits, setting a positive example, and know that situations will arise, and learn how to handle them in advance, or make sure that you know how to communicate and you stay on the same page. Certain behaviors will have consequences that they should understand, and make sure that, again, that you're not lecturing, you're listening to them, you're learning learning from them. Allow them to speak to you if they think that they have made a mistake or have done something that you may not agree with, but listen to them and try to come up with solutions together. It can be very difficult when they've tried possibly something that you have gone over that may not be the best for them. So it is really important that you speak to them frequently and speak to them often. I think that was about it. I just want to make sure. Yes, this is if sometimes the communication breaks down or something that there was a certain agreement that maybe was not understood. Disagreements will happen, and they won't always want to speak to you. So let them have that kind of be patient with them. Make sure that you allow them a little bit of time to understand what happened, and give them a little bit of downtime. Be persistent. Again, reinforce that you're caring, that you're present, be understanding, continually try and connect, and give hope that there are solutions to their problems. And of course, if there is something that goes to the point where you're not sure if you can handle, or that maybe your child needs some other modes of communication, some therapy, or there are other issues at hand, then reach out to your medical provider, reach out to the school, reach out to counselors, because sometimes communication can break down to the point where we do need help to try to bring everything back. But again, respect and love and affection just goes a long way in trying to communicate with your child. And I think that was about it. I apologize. We had to kind of go back and forth. I knew that some of the slides were skipped. So if you have any questions or comments, please send them to Elwood Public Library or comment below, and I'll be happy to answer them. If anybody has any other future ideas that they want to talk about, want me to talk about, please comment below and let them know, or let us know. And I want to thank you again to allow me to discuss different topics with you. Okay. Thank you very much.